the full screen.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for attending. Obviously, big shout out to G Money and G Portal NFT for having me.
No
And
problem.
without further ado, these are the points of discussion that we're going to have for the call. So more about me, my experience. G Money was touching on a little bit earlier, but also stocks and options. Getting into the basics there, how to set up your Robinhood account or whatever account broker you're going to be using and interpreting the signals, as well as expectations, just sort of what you can expect from me and keeping accountability, signal frequency, all that. So, uh, G Money kind of touched on it earlier. I've known him since college. I believe it's like 7, 8 years running now. And I've actually been trading since before I met him. I started trading when I turned 18 in 2014. That was my first stock trade. And my first option trade, I'll never forget the story. I was just, sitting at home when the new feature rolled out on Robinhood. It said, options trading now available. And, I had $10 to spare, so I was like, why not? Just threw it into it, didn't know what I was doing. But then I woke up the next morning and I saw that my account was at $200. And so I had to do a double take, back in college, like this is a pretty big deal. I was like, what just happened? And I ended up selling it out at 150. I actually have the transaction here. You can see this screenshot here on the left. We've got the buy of 5 contracts for $10, and then I sold 4 of them for 148. So that was when I knew that I needed to figure out what was going on. And one of the events that I want to touch on is when I actually bought and sold a stock with the ticker of INVAX for around $1.29 per share. And so I also have this transaction here. I know it's a little small, but hopefully you can see I bought 725 shares at the price of $1.29, and that costed me $945. And so I ended up selling that same day. It was just a day trade. I ended up selling all the shares and just made like a quick little $30 profit, nothing too great. And then fast forward to February of 2021, the price actually reached $290.18. So right now it's at 16.51, but here in February we can see that it jumped up. And so just to get you guys a little excited, you can see it a little bit better here with the 725 shares that we have. If you multiply that by the price of 290, that initial $900 investment would have been 210,000. So that's just going to show it's not just options that we can see insane gains, it's also stocks. And it's not like you have to wait 10, 15, 20 years either. This happened in 3. So just wanted to highlight that. And then, like Grant said, really started to dive in with the indicators in 2022 and just sort of took all this accumulated experience into just creating these strategies. So I know we don't have too many people in the call, but you guys have trading experience, and are you currently living in the U.S. or abroad?
For me, I'm living in Southeast Asia right now, so Robinhood isn't available to me, unfortunately.
Okay.
In terms of trading experience, well, I only started trading cryptocurrency back in 2017, but I really got into it in January of 2021. I made some good trades here or there, but I really got immersed in NFT trading in about August of 2021, and I've just kind of been in that space since. and found my way here in G Portal. Recently, I got into Forex, but I've been only making very tiny trades, and that's the extent of my experience.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've been meaning to get into Forex as well. And NFTs, there's almost no greater trading, getting into some of these whitelists that G Money has and being able to, basically flip with almost zero risk. So,
Yeah, for sure.
hey, thanks for joining. I was just going around asking about trading experience and where people are currently living out of. We got anybody else? Mic working?
If I may ask, would you happen to know any alternatives to Robinhood for those who don't live in the US?
Yes, and I was actually I'm going to go into that. That's
right.
something I was looking into because I was talking to G about this, and even just being able to trade stocks like I was showing earlier with just being able to add that to your portfolio, especially in some countries like Europe and I'm sure even Asia, where the 401ks aren't so prevalent. You have like state pensions and things like that. It could be very valuable to be able to make some of these type of gains just trading stocks as well. But yeah, I've been looking for platforms that you can use outside of the US that I also can use, so I can also advise from that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, well, I'll move on to what are stocks. Okay, so a stock is going to be an investment that's going to give stockholders or shareholders a share of ownership in a company. And the reason companies do this is in order to raise capital from us, the investors. And they, use the money to further expand their business operations. And so when we say share of ownership in the company, we can actually vote sometimes. Like I've received emails from shares that I've held in companies to like vote on decisions that they make available. So it really is a share of ownership in the company that we buy with stocks. And down here we have what's known as tickers, and tickers are just unique identifiers for companies. So for example, we have Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, and Meta. Okay, that brings us into options. So options is a type of derivative security. Derivative here meaning that it's linked to something else, which we're talking about stocks. Options are just a type of investment that are linked to stocks. And so options, what are options? Options are contracts that give buyers the right but not the obligation to buy or sell a stock at a certain price, known as a strike price. And to kind of make this easier to understand, if we go into Robinhood and we look here, we can see we've got a column of the strike prices. And then we've got prices for the actual options over here. And the reason why we would want to buy an option is, let's say we had some shares of Apple, right? And we wanted to protect against the possibility of it going down. What we could do is we could buy the 145 strike option. And let's say the price of Apple drops $10. We wouldn't have to sell Apple at $135.49. If it dropped $10, we would actually be able to sell it at this 145 price. But consequently, if it doesn't go down and it goes up, then we don't have to sell at this 145 price. So that's what it's saying when it's when we say we have the right but not the obligation. So depending on where the stock moves, we can decide to execute and protect our investment. And same with the calls, which we'll go into detail later on in the presentation. So we talked about options being contracts. Each contract is going to represent 100 shares of an underlying stock. So we go back here. If we look at the option at the 146 strike, we can actually see here we've got one contract, 100 shares each. So when you're looking at these prices, you might look at it and see, oh, this is $2.12. Well, one contract has 100 shares. So when we actually look to buy that option, we'll see that it's actually worth 212. And again, that's solely because each contract is worth 100 shares. Now, we make calls when we think that the stock is going to go up, and we make puts when we think the stock is going to go down. So kind of like with the earlier example I was talking about, we would actually buy the 145 strike put if we thought it was going down. Okay, and since we don't actually hold 100 shares of the stock that we're purchasing, we can, but for our sakes, we're not. Our options are going to be uncovered. So we're trading uncovered options. We're only worried about the option prices that we're trading, not actually like executing them. And like how I was saying in the earlier example, if this went down, we would be able to sell at this price. How are we doing on that so far? Because I know it's a lot.
If I may ask, so like are calls similar to like longs and puts are similar to shorts?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Gotcha. And then with one contract being 100 shares, is that the same idea as using like a 10x leverage?
No, because we won't close out. Like we can't. Like when you do leverage, like you'll be closed out of your position as soon as like you hit that leverage on your account. This is not the case here. The max you can lose is the option price that you have.
I see.
But the gains that we have are kind of like accentuated in that way.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So not quite trading off leverage. There are ways that you can trade using leverage with options, but Robinhood doesn't offer that.
Okay. I see. I'll continue to listen then. Those are my questions.
No, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Raji is keeping up. All right. So let's go back to slideshow. Okay, so one of the things, perhaps the most important thing that we got to keep track of is time decay. And with time decay, basically as we move closer to expiration, the value of the option price is going to decline. And why this is so important is what it means is even if our stock goes in the direction that we want, we may not always win off of that. And that has to deal with time decay. In some cases, we can actually lose. All right. So when I say expiration, what am I referring to? Well, you can actually see this box here that's going to show you the expiration of these options. All right. And you can see if we look at the 146 strike, It's got an option price of 253. If we go out to December 23rd and we go to that same strike, we're going to see that it's 338, and so forth. So you're going to see the prices increase the further we go out. And that has to deal with time decay. So part of the thing to keep in mind is also whether or not we are in or out of the money as it pertains to time decay. So what in the money means for calls is basically anything that's under our share price. Remember, we want the price to go up, right? Anything below the share price is going to be considered in the money. Anything that's above the share price for calls is going to be out of the money. Why this is important to know as it pertains to time decay is when we get to expiration, so on Friday when the markets close on December 16th, anything that's out of the money will become zero. The reason for that is quite simple. Nobody is going to pay for a price of the option that we're not at. So like if we're at $145.49, no one in their right mind is going to buy Apple at 146 because they'd be overpaying. So that's why anything out of the money is going to expire worthless. So hopefully that makes sense. Basically, like the further, if you want to think about it this way, you can think of options as insurance. I've heard that be described. You know, we're basically trying to insure against the worst case scenario. And the closer we get to expiration, the less valuable that insurance is going to be. Another thing that is just good for you guys to know is implied volatility. So our cheaper options are going to have a lower volatility, and our more expensive options are going to have a higher volatility. Why that's important to know is because that's literally going to be the volatility of how our options move. So for instance, if we look at the 146 strike expiring December 16th, which is this upcoming Friday, we'll see an implied volatility of 46%. If we go out to January 6th, we'll see an implied volatility of 30%, and so forth. The further out you go, the less you'll see the implied volatility. And why is that? It's because that there's going to be less volatility for that option given, you know, greater time. Just something to keep in mind. You won't have to worry too much about implied volatility because I've already factored them into the strategies. But it goes into the reason why I recommend certain strike prices is because as we start to get like super far out, you don't want to buy some of these options that are too far out. It's just going to get very crazy with the volatility. It's not going to be worth it. You're basically putting yourself in a situation where you can only lose. So, okay. And if you've been following along so far, you're probably wondering, okay, well, given time decay and, you know, how these options are moving, how can I kind of track where they're going to go? And the simplest way we can do that is going to be through something called the Greeks. So if we go back to our December 16th expiring 146 strike, we can actually see the Greeks right here. Okay. And the three Greeks that I want to focus on are going to be your delta, gamma, and theta. Your delta is going to tell you each dollar the stock goes up, this is how much the option price will increase. So from the 146, if you basically add 47, you'll be around the ballpark here. And gamma is going to basically add on to delta. So basically,
yeah, it's best to stick to that plan, to not get like
hopefully that works.
Overly excited. I know I can get very excited.
Yeah.
Rob can get really excited when it comes to certain wins.
No, I'm gonna keep it 100. My account right now that I started with 100. I was doing okay, and I saw this Nvidia call come up, and I initially created a lot of these strategies basing off of the Nvidia price, and so far every single time I've tested those, it's worked out really well. So I put in a large part of the portfolio, and that helped me really get this gain. But that's not something that we normally want to do. We definitely want to stick with proper risk management. But I'll keep it 100. I saw that signal. I know the signals really well, and I just felt really good about that. So I definitely want to follow you guys with the trades as well. I'm going to be telling you guys when I'm getting in and at what limits, and then when I'm selling out. You're gonna be able to follow this progress along with me. And just piggybacking to the trading signals, so these win rates are gonna be they're gonna show you when they're last updated. So they're back tested, back to a year, and yeah, I'll just continue to update these, so you'll know, how accurate the win rate is.
So it gets updated in like real time, basically, or I mean or up to date by pretty much real time.
Yeah. I'll be updating these every week. And so, yeah, we have.
I just get excited thinking about, like, imagine we're all trading, profiting together, and we're all just watching our portfolio steadily grow over time. Like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things about the Robinhood and working with even you, Charlie, is we can have like good stock days, right? And then we can also buy crypto and send it over into whatever exchange we're working with, and also make plays there. So like if we're making profit in one area, then we can move that profit into another. And the way I look at trading profit is, again, you can maybe take some of that profit to risk a little bit. If you lose it, you've just lost profit. I think you want to have some cushion for a rainy day in case you run into a series of bad trades. But maybe you have an NFT win, and you have all this extra funds. There might be some risky picks that you might be okay with throwing some of that into. Okay, so yes, long entries. These are going to be our long entries, and then our long exits. They're going to tell you the price that we exit at, and it's pretty should be pretty self-explanatory when we go to our option. Just going through it. If we know it's 2 weeks out, and we want to go $10 up. We would click on this. We buy. Oh, one other huge thing I want to tell you guys about. So when we buy, we never want to buy at market, and the reason is because we have these bids and asks, and if you can look at the bid, there's a huge spread between the bid price, what Robinhood's showing us, and the ask price. So a lot of times if you buy at market, this is not really reflecting what people are actually buying this for. So a lot of times we'll overpay. You never want to overpay with the option because you're already starting at a loss. So if you want to get into a play immediately, the best way to do that is to start from the bid and work your way up. For instance, if we know the bid is 860, may we start, and we know that this is moving in increments of 5. We'll set a limit at 865 and work our way up. But again, I'll give you limits to actually choose when the signals come.
And if you guys ever have a question, you know, feel free to ping Rob in chat or send him a DM or ping me and I can ask Rob, because I know he's really eager to help you guys get started. So I know anytime I have a question about options, you know, I ask him. So
yeah, I'm gonna have my messages open. I want to have my messages open, and if any of you guys want to get started, definitely be able to work with you one-on-one to help you guys get started, for sure.
That's awesome.
So yeah, when it's time to sell, let's say this executed. Actually, I have a play right now. Let's see. Here we go. All you got to do, and it of course it looks different on the mobile app, but you would literally just, you know, type the amount of contracts that you have and the price. And then you'd, you know, essentially sell at that limit price.
Raji says, the bid and ask part was good to know. Definitely overpaid in the past not knowing this.
Yes, yes. That happened to me before, and it just ticks you off, because it's like, why did you give me this price then?
Yeah. It'd be like it's like a false floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. So yes, always start from the bid and work your way up, because yeah, they'll try to get you on that.
And then Charlie asked, do we use Robinhood only? So Rob went over two brokerages. What were they? Charles Schwab, Robinhood, and then you said
Interactive Brokers. Interactive Brokers. And for Interactive Brokers, our stock trades are going to be completely free. I checked the countries that they're active in. And I just want to make sure that that they still offer options trading in all these countries. But you should be able to open an account in all of these countries.
Wow, that's a ton. So I guess what I thought, or what we may have thought of people outside the U.S. not doing options, was just completely false.
Yes. So I'm gonna confirm. You know, because like I was saying, some countries may have restrictions on options trading, but I will call them and kind of confirm. But like I was showing kind of earlier in the call for people that didn't see, is we don't even necessarily need quick options. We can actually make a lot of money off trading regular stocks. So this was like a stock that I purchased in 2018 that was worth $940. I ended up just day trading it. But if we fast forward just 3 years, so from the 2018 time when I bought it to just 3 years, in February 5th, 2021, the price jumped from $1.29 to $290.18. So that initial $900 investment can become $200,000. That's another thing that we can include in this group is, and I want to share with you guys this signal that I created that helps with long-term investing, and it worked on this one too. I wish I'd had it back then, but yeah, I mean, we can see some crazy, insane games, and this is not even like, we're not talking 10 years out. We're just talking 3 years from when I bought the initial share to when we could have sold it. So Interactive Brokers will definitely allow for that as well. I want to definitely mix in some long-term trading.
Yeah, and I think with inflation and with a lot of assets going down, we might be seeing some really good buying opportunities for some of those stocks to ride.
No, that's 100% correct. I mean, just look at, we got Disney here, right? We see Disney reached a high of 197 in 2021. Most people believe that Disney is going to be here to stay. I mean, even if we look at an option that expires, let's say in 2025, right? Let's say we thought that Disney was going to get back to that 170 price, and we bought an option that's worth $300. All right, yeah. That $300 call that we make, if it gets back to that anytime within 2025, as long as we don't have too much time decay, that 300, as an example, could turn into 2,500. So you can even use options to trade very long out, and you eliminate the risk, a lot of the risk associated with this, because you just have so much time on this expiration. So these are all things to think about, things I'll try to incorporate. We've got the quick little option trades that's going to make you very excited, but we've also got the long-term trades as well.
The other thing too is from my understanding, Rob has signals that are going like right now, but he can continue to add signals over time, so we can add more and more and more, and just have more signals and get increase the amount of signals, and then with that also increase the accuracy of the signals. So it's only going to get better over time, and we're going to have options as far as which signals we like. If we notice that a signal, like I said, wins four times in a row, I mean, that's gonna be a winner. And we can say, hey, here, this is won 4 times in a row. We have a new signal. Probably a good idea to hop in.
Yeah. And one thing that I also want to mention is we're not always going to have the best entry. So sometimes we might start at a loss. Don't let that deter you. I think a good rule of thumb is once we get down to 50% loss for a contract, we could just go ahead and mark that as a loss. Because typically if a contract goes down 50%, that means it has to climb 100% just to get back to break even. And it happens, but it's not necessarily something that we would want to do unless we have just an insane amount of time on the expiration. But even here you can But even here you can currently see that I'm down on this this option call that I made for Neo, where I'm just investing profit. There are times where we'll get bad entries, and maybe tomorrow Neo drops down a lot and I end up making a lot of money on that.
Oh yeah, Raji said he got into your Neo call earlier today.
Oh, you did?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, that's lit.
Yeah. So it looks like you got our first portal member following one of your calls, Rob.
Okay, let's hope that it does. Let's hope that it does pretty good tomorrow, or not so good. So we make money on that put.
And that's what it's all about. Because I'm in that too, Raji. So we're gonna win or we're gonna lose together, and we're definitely gonna learn together. And my question earlier was, so with the 50%, if an option goes down by 50%, is that where you typically set your stop loss, to mark that as a loss if it does go down?
Yeah. So what we can sort of do is we can set these stop losses. So I'm in this position now. I actually just made a limit. So let me cancel and replace. So Robinhood gives us a little bit of a let's see. So I want to continue here, and I want to do a stop limit order. So they give us a little bit of customability with selling out. So we can have like good till canceled or good for the day. And we can set stop limit orders basically to say, hey, if it reaches this price, sell out at this one. So let's say we bought this at 30. We could set a stop, and we wanted to sell at 50%. We could set a stop price at 0.16, and then set a limit to execute at 0.15. And the reason we do that, again, is the stop price is going to tell us when to execute the limit. And the limit is just going to say, at this price or greater, sell. Okay, so I know we've been going for a while here. I want to start to wrap it up. As far as expectations, you can expect me to be posting wins and losses. We're going to have some days where you're just going to have a ton of signals. Some days we're not going to have a bunch of signals. Like I said, when we have big events like CPI numbers coming out and things like that, you may see me post a major message saying, hey, let's hold off on the signals. Because we're dealing with a lot of volatility based on people reacting to news. And yeah, that's really what I got.
Awesome, bro. It was really appreciate you putting this whole presentation together, and I know everybody who's attending this class appreciates it too. Definitely going to get this recording up. So if you made multiple recordings, we can patch those together to make it one smooth recording, and then I'll get that posted in guides. One of the biggest benefit along with the these classes and the signals that I really want to make sure everybody knows is, because Rob really loves this stuff. Like, even when I'm talking to him, I can tell, and I just want to make sure that you guys know that we truly have one-on-one support. We want to get people trading. We want to get people profiting. And I know that Rob really, really means it when he says, like, hit me up in chat, hit me up in DM. If you have a question about a trade, ask me, and that's really like the biggest benefit out of all of this, is having somebody where you can go, hey, from my understanding, here's how I want to enter a trade. This is based on what I've learned. This is how I think, how I think I want to do it, or how I think I'm supposed to do it. Can you confirm, or if you have a question? So I want to make sure everybody knows that they have that support here.
Absolutely. Even weekends, I'll be available, setting out plans. My goal is to start with maybe like 5 of you, and get you started, acclimated, ready to use the signals, and just posting about your results in the group. And again, this is something that occurs every weekday, so we don't have to worry about releases or anything like that, or super late times. It's going to be 9 to 4. 9:30 to 4 every weekday, and that's it. So after that, we kind of relax, or we're scared because we don't know what's going to happen the next day. But that's how it goes with stocks. Stocks trade 9:30 to 4 Eastern time.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, I know everybody here appreciates it. If anybody has any last questions, let us know. We plan to make doing these classes a regular thing, and like I said, whether we're starting with five people, then posting these profits in the success channel. I have no doubt in my mind, as we start to grow our accounts, more and more people are going to be interested. And, you know, I'm just excited to bring someone like Rob, a good friend of mine, who's very knowledgeable, bring that to you guys.
I have a question. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. My bad.
Okay. Rob, in regards to your trading signals, I just have a question because I was just trying to understand how to actually apply it. So I understand like the long or short entry triggered at a specific price. And then let's say it's like a long entry trigger, and then in that post there's like a long entry strike and there's like a couple ranges of prices. What does it mean, for example, when it says like $5/$10?
Yeah, so the 5 is going to be the minimum strike, I would advise, and then the 10 is going to be the maximum.
I see. So then so if it's like a long, for example, we're going $5 up minimum.
Yeah,
right?
so for Adobe, and specific to this example, if we go, so of course we know it's 2 weeks out. You know, we start with this 345 just outside of the money strike, and then we go $5 up from there. That would be our minimum, and then $10 up would be this 355, and that would be sort of our maximum. And I base that off of my trading experience. If you try some of these later strikes, you know, you could have some wonky movements.
Okay. I've been writing notes this whole time, so I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and I would love to, you know, reach out with you guys maybe on whenever it's a good time for everyone. Any questions that you have, you know, as you continue to learn about options, I think, and even stocks, like the education part of it is just so crucial because it's just going to be a life skill that transcends no matter where you go, no matter what you do. Learning how to trade stocks and options is just going to be something that is a life skill. Like, stocks are here forever. You don't have to worry about that. We will always have companies.
Right. So even if the crypto market, NFT market takes a hit, one of my goals with G Portal is to make sure that help finding these other avenues to help, you know, make money, whether that's options, whether that's long-term investing. You know, Charlie says, do you think we should go into Forex trading too next year? 100%. I've been keeping my eye out looking for Forex traders who have really good reputations who I can bring in here as well. So, you know, crypto trading, options, stocks, NFTs, whitelist, Forex.
You're getting
Really
pretty much everything.
Help. Yeah, pretty much everything is what I'm looking to have.
Yeah, I'd be super excited to try Forex as well.
And I really want to also have that sense of community, in the sense of, like I mentioned before, trading together, learning together, winning together. That's really what it's all about. I don't want it to just be, oh, here are the signals. And Rob and I talked about this. I didn't want it to just be like, here are the signals, you know, you guys do, you know, maybe you take it, maybe you don't. Like, I want to make it a constant effort to get as many people onboarded and learning about the things they want to learn about, trading and understanding, because I've been a part of other groups before where, you know, you've got the signals, but there's not that sense of like, oh, we're all trading together, or we're all winning together, or maybe, you know, maybe they don't feel like they can ask questions, or, you know, they don't want to, they don't fully understand. And that's really what we want to promote here.
No, there are absolutely zero stupid questions with stocks and options. I mean, these, like, some of the stuff that I've just learned over the past 4 years. That's what I'm here for, is to share that with you. My experiences, like I said, I've turned 500 into 30,000. I've, played with hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've tried a bunch of different ways to trade options and stocks. Like all this experience is what I'm here to bring for you guys.
Yeah, I think at the peak you were getting to like 350,000, right?
350. My goal is to get back into that hundreds of thousands of range with my account, and I know some plays that can turn hundreds of thousands into millions with very, very little risk. So I'm pretty excited to share even those type of plays that I know are going to do really well long term with the group as well.
Call them, if you have a crazy play that you have in mind, because we post really risky trades sometimes in like our NFT degen plays. So if there is a trade that you have in mind, that is risky, feel free to put it, but just put like degen, like extremely degen.
Oh yeah, lotto plays. Yeah, we got to have some lotto plays, and I'll tell you why, because there are literally some plays that will turn you, like similarly to what Charlie's got going on. I mean, there are plays that, like if we look at QQQ for instance, where if a stock goes up maybe like $2 or $3, you can literally get like 1,000% gains. I've seen some of those gains in the leverage stuff. Like you 1,000% gains happen at least once a week in the stock market with options. At least once a week. I'm not even exaggerating that. They happen at least once a week. I promise you.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. I appreciate all you guys for showing out. Like I said, I'm sure this group is going to grow over time as far as people interested, especially when we figure out, for the whole international trading thing. Because I want to make sure we're not just, servicing the U.S. people. I want to, our group's global, and I want to make sure we're providing those benefits to everybody. So really excited for the future, for what the future holds, and the portal signals, and for what Rob's building with his signals. And he's working on some stuff that. He's working on even more stuff that we haven't released yet. He mentioned something to me about spreads where you can risk, like, what were you saying? You could risk like 20 or 30 bucks on like some kind of spread, Rob, and then you could make.
Yeah, there are these spreads that I'm testing out now where I want to show you guys so badly, but I'd have to log into another Robinhood account. I can post screenshots about it, but it's essentially like you risk $25, and it's basically says if we're in this range by expiration, then you can make $50, for instance. It's literally the exact opposite of what I've talked with. I didn't want to bring it up in this call because I just wanted to cover the basics, but just simply explaining it, it's if you're within a range, you make money on that trade. Like maybe we can go over that in another call. I'm actually experimenting with that now and trying to come up with a system where I can kind of consistently get $25 to $50 a week with very minimal risk. Like some of these spreads, you can basically have like a $10 range where you say, okay, as long as this stays within $10 this week, we'll secure 50 easy. So, but don't worry about that for now. Just what we discussed. I'll be making that easy to consume in the future if we decide to go that route. All right, that's all I got.
All right, awesome, man. Great class. Appreciate it. Yeah. See you guys later. Thank Rob in main chat or voice chat, and we'll see you at the next one.
Raji, let's get this money tomorrow.
Let's get it, bro.
All right.
All right, you guys. Night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Thanks, G.